That's good, that's nice and dark. You're good at it here, haven't you?
But it's very loose. It pros.
Yes, do, thank you. Quite often painting loosely and going tighter and tighter, we get part way and think we don't need to do any more on that. I've had students come to me wanting to be loosened up on watercolour. They've been held back by other teachers saying, you can only do it this way, you can only do it that way. And I've deliberately had them doing something like this, very loose. And we've got part way, and I said, look, because they just trusted me, idiots. They just trusted me, and got loose, and then got part way, and they've been so involved, they haven't realised what they're doing. I said, just stop a moment, just come and stand back here a minute. Oh, wow, what have I done? You know, because they were so involved, they didn't realise they hadn't got to paint in detail. They were nice and loose, it came out beautifully, and suddenly they've created a painting that's full of light and luminosity, and they didn't need to take it any further. Stop there. Or it might just need 1 or 2 touches of pastel or something just to bring it out, you know. So this way, lovely and loose, we're going to start standard watercolour technique. Now, wet into wet, so I've not stretched the paper or anything like that, not messing about with that. You see, I can paint straight across there, and the Chinagraph pencil does not move at all.
Is that just water?
This is just water at the moment, I'm just doing wet into wet. I just wanted to show you that first of all it doesn't move, right? Now we talked about, you're not going to do this, but we talked about using water with pastel. It is better to put your pastel onto the paper first and then put the water on. If you put the water on and the pastel on top, it tends to get into the paper too much and makes a heavier mark, you can't blend it out. You've got far more control this way. So I'm just going to take, just for instance, a very dark bit of pastel here, a bit of deep blue, just for the fun of it. And all I would do, I've done this before now, and I've used just, say, hot press paper, no drawing at all, and just put a scumble of mark on like that. I've put a little bit of, now, this is a harder pastel, these are the inscribes. So just for fun, just to show you how it works, that's an inscribe, and you'll see how it doesn't move as well as a soft pastel will. So I'm going to put next to it a bit of soft pastel there. Now, what I've done before now, as I say, it looks like magic for people, is I do my whole picture like that with no drawing, and it just looks, what the hell, like a misty mess. But then once I come in with the water and pull it together, it immediately turns into something. So let's have a look at how we can use pastel with water straight away. If I take some water on that, and look at this, blends beautifully, you can paint it right out.
Oh, wow.
Yeah. Now this is the harder pastel, and it's not blending quite as well. Look, it's staying there far more. The softer one's going in more. Yeah. Take the dark. What I was saying about being able to use the dark and paint it out. You can actually take that on your brush now and start to paint with it. You see what I mean, Peter? Mm-hmm. So you can take that paint, that dark paint, and you can use the brush to do your finer marks and lines. Just to give you an idea, so if we're going to use water and pastel, we would do the whole painting like this in the mid-tones first, let that all dry, and then work our pastel over the top. So you don't need a coloured paper or background. Remember that nearly all papers are not colour fast. So you buy these pastel papers and they'll just go fading after a while, and the colour you thought is showing through, if it's sunshine, after a while it just disappears and you've lost your values. If you paint the paper first with a fine coat of acrylic or inks, they will last, but make sure the paint isn't too thick or the pastel won't take. If we use pastel first and put pastel over the top, they will last as well as the pastels will, depending on the quality. So that's when you ask me about pastels, the difference in the hard pastels is you can't blend them as well, and if I now put hard pastels into that, if I try putting hard pastel into that, it will cut into the paper.
Oh, right.
Because it's wet.
Yeah.
Whereas the soft pastels won't. I can come into that now, so I want to bring a darker colour into that. I'll bring a little bit of deep green into that, just a little bit, that's straight onto the water now. It's just a little bit damp there.
So what's a good example of a soft pastel then, if you would advise them?
Well, these unisons I think are the tops.
Unison?
Yeah, unisons. If you go on my website, most details are there. If you email me, I will send you the details and a sheet of the colours that I actually use. I've got sheets.
Website?
I'll give you a card at the end,
Super,
okay?
thank you.
The others have got cards, because they were here last time. But I'll help any help you want, anytime, just email me, and I've got sheets of the colours I advise for acrylics, I've got sheets I advise for watercolour, I've got sheets I advise for oils, and they're all email, it's free, I can just send it to you, you can print it off for yourself, okay?
Super, thank you very much.
So any advice like that, no problem. So now let's go back to the watercolour. Now you're going to have to paint much more darkly than you've ever done before, much more heavily than you've ever done before. So I want to get this paper cockling already because I'm sat here chattering away. But let's, now you see, look, that's fixed. It hardly moves now. So once those provisional coats of pastel are on, then not only can you almost paint over them, you can just move them. I don't mind if that happens there. normally I wouldn't have this colouring happening because I wouldn't put my pastel on at this stage, but it's really so that Peter could see what he could do with the one the other side of his paper, and he could move it around with this and then put lights over the top. But I want to get water into this now. Now I'm going to have no white paper left at all because I'm going to put that back in with the pastel. So all of these light areas I want to be a colour. I haven't got my oleoning yellows here, I'm going to use lemon, but I'm going to start from my yellows. Sun's about here, so I'll start it there. I don't want to leave the white because I'm going to put the white in. Think outside the box. This is the first difficulty for all of you. There's no white. So think of the lightest colour that's going on underneath here, and we'll work that one outwards. So now to the orange. I'll use a bit of cadmium yellow now. Just go around that, quite dark. It'll all make sense as we go on, but as dark as that, for your lightest areas, that yellow then comes on down through here. It makes almost, some of you might like this technique even as watercolours. You can see this wet into wet technique. It's a beautiful way to make effects of light. The warmth, the pinks coming on down here. I'm mixing my colours actually on the paper rather than up here. Little bits of warmth coming through here, these trees here. I want to be able to get all of that glowing through there, so I'm going to put a wash of that. Remembering also that watercolour dries almost 40% lighter than when you put it on. So I really do want to come quite these lovely effects of light coming down here. This is a cool red now. I'm using a bit of rose coming in there. I want to play my colours one against another. Got a lovely cool red coming down here. Pushing these colours, letting them flood into each other.
Cool red, yeah.
Cool reds and warm reds, cool colours with the cool colour hues. Yeah. This good old bloke hue, So every single colour has a warm and a cool.
Yeah.
Every single colour has a warm and a cool. So the cool yellow is lemon yellow, the warm yellow is chrome yellow. This is going in between, a sort of warmer yellow there. Come right down. I'm going to bring the cools into that in a minute. I can put these lighter colours on first. So it's resisting the pencil. If you've got too much pencil, it will actually totally resist, but let's bring this right down. I can put my reds into my yellows, so that's all right here. I'm really going to go quite strong down here, a little bit lighter up there. I want my colours to glow through up here. I'm going to put those cools back in a moment here. Cerulean blue, cool, orange down here. Cobalt is a blue, the cobalt is a blue in between. Really pushing it, I could go much darker than that, and I'm going to go darker than that with the blues in a minute.
So what do you call a warm blue then?
A warm cadmium.
Cadmium?
Yeah. A cool rose. If it goes towards the purple, if it goes towards the blue is the cool of the reds. So a purple is a cool red. An orangey red, cadmium red, is a warm red. A cool blue is cerulean, it's icy. A warm blue is more purple, ultramarine. A green, sap green, is browner, it's warmer. Viridian.
No. You're going to test this in a minute.
yes, viridian is a cooler green.
It's a whole science on its own.
Yes.
Don't worry about it. I'm just
don't forget the age factor here. We can't retain more than one factor at a time.
This is me you're talking to, 66 with half a brain.
Come on.
Right, really going to push these colours down here. No white. It's even quite difficult for me. I mean, I keep looking at the whites thinking, I'm used to, like you, I'm used to watercolouring and leaving them behind, but no, I've got to paint these out and gradually work this up quite strongly. Nice and loose, wet into wet, don't let it dry off, keep these colours soft, don't let them dry at this stage, keep your effects of light, because you don't want yet hard edges. As with painting wet into wet normally, we want to work up our hard edges first. Now, I'm going to start to work up some of these blues. I'm going to go to a cooler blue now, more of a turquoise, just down into here. Let's take this turquoise and look at these various, really look hard, there's a sort of greeny turquoise blue coming in here. I'm going to leave little bits of light just showing through, just a fraction. This is a cooler greeny blue then, and the reason for it. And this is a lovely way to work anyway. I mean, this is, we're having a bit of a watercolour lesson here as well. If it comes down here, we'll make it down here as well, wherever it is. I'm going to put some darks in here in a minute with the Prussian blue and so on. I haven't got any Prussian blue in here, which I normally use. And I'm going to have to use a little bit of black, because I don't have... Although I do find that the deep green in this and the purple make a lovely dark. Right, any more of that cool? Yes, a little bit more of that cool just coming through here. Comes up through there against that light there. lovely wet into wet. I mean, so some of you might like this enough that, oh, I want to have a go at that, just painting a watercolour like that, never mind having any pencil marks, just working it as effective light. Lovely way to work. Go right down here, some bits of light through there, maybe a little bit more, that's it, down to there, through here. Now a warmer blue, come across to my, what have I got here? What's that one? That says cobalt there, doesn't it? Yeah. Look, the nice thing about these paints is they have a little, because I can't see what the hell the colours are there. Now warmer blue then, before I come through to my, you see how warm that is, much bluer than the greener, lighter blue. I'm going to go warmer than that in a moment. Let's really bring that through here, letting that light just show through. I'm going to have some light just showing through, the effects of light already, but that's already dark enough that when I put the pastel on it will show. Right through here. We almost lose everything. I say, well, what's an effect of light? I think, what's your bother? Why don't you just paint it with paint? You could do, I suppose. Right through here, down into here, we get those lovely warm blues coming down. I'm going to put the pinks back into here afterwards with the pastels, because there's lovely pinks there, look. They're going to go back in with the pastels later. I'm going to go to a warmer blue. Let's get my beautiful ultramarine, one of my favourite colours. Look at that. Look at the warmth of that now compared to this. The beautiful warms there, look. Really pushing it. This is how strong I want you to paint. To really push these colours.
It would actually stand on its own by itself.
Exactly what I was saying, Peter, isn't it? People come into this loose way of working. When I start teaching you these different ways, you'll suddenly think, hey, I don't mind that as it is. Without any pencil drawing, we'd bring in the pastel work or the... So here I am to enthuse you. Here I am to show you other ways of having fun with paint using colour. But this is the fun of painting. This is the joy of art, isn't it? This is the... And be brave. You're going to have to be brave. You can't go wrong, because if you make a mess of this, you're going to put pastel over it. Don't worry about it. Don't panic. Don't panic, Mr. Mannering. It's all right. Everything's going to work out in the end. So these lovely shapes. So I'm not just using the pencil, Peter. I'm putting darks in now with the brush as well, but darker colours to go with. So some of you haven't managed to get all of your drawing done.
What colour is it you're using at the moment?
This is purple.
Purple.
Deep purple, yeah. So some of you haven't got your drawing quite done. Don't worry, if you want to do it with the brush like this, you can put your watercolour in nice and dark, you can paint it in. But I'm not using... That's in my case, it's the deep green and the purple.
If they do disappear, then it's like a forest bloom anyway, isn't it?
Well, that's right. All you've got is an effective light. And most of my watercolours, I work that way. I work up, the same with these, I work up an effective light first and then gradually go tighter and tighter. So start loose, finish tight. And as this dries, I could, if this is a standard watercolour, I would have masked off these little bits of light branch. And I'd be leaving those other lights in between, so I'd get the sharp and light areas, but I'd be working in the same way and gradually going tighter and tighter. And these marks I'm doing now, would the paint be almost dry, I'd be letting it dry a little bit more, and I'd be coming into this with finer brushes, or this tip of this brush just to bring these marks out. And as the paper is drier, and I'm painting wet on dry, so let's do a bit here, for instance. If I put a little mark there, that's wet on dry, so it's standing out. But if I put wet onto wet there, it just spreads in again. So it's timing as well. Well, I'm going to let that one dry, and once that's dry, I'll put the pastel on, okay? So that's your next stage. If you want it,
Mauve?
Mauve, lovely, yeah.
How does indigo go?
Indigo is a very deep, dark blue, so that's great. Good, work well. So a lot more of this, even right through here. Yeah, really get that strong colour. Can you say that on camera, please?
Doing that, warm rose. Oh yeah, is that really red one? Why is it green?
Sing the blues, paint the blues. That's great. You see what I mean about the wet into wet? Now, again, I'm going to work from my medium colours through to my lightest. I tend to do this in most of my painting. In most of my painting, I'll start with a medium colour on the horizon somewhere there and work outwards. And then I'll work through to my lighter ones and through to my darker ones. Then I will finally go back to the very darks and the highlights at the very end. So I'm leaving my highlights at the very end. But what I just want to show you is how they're going to stand out. And also how I don't want to lose my colours behind. By looking at that, I can see it's warmer around here, it's slightly cooler pink around there. I'm going to start off with quite a light pink, I think, on mine. Let's have a little look so you can see what I've got. That's probably a bit too dark, yeah. Creams and pinks. You're right. If I just scumble this for the moment, scumbling, feathering is little strokes of, like feathers. Scumbling is when you take a dry brush or a pastel over the surface, like a dry brush. So if I just scumble here slightly, just come around that, you see it just goes, you see the texture of the paper now? It's just leaving that texture of the paper glowing through. So the more texture you've got, if I don't want to mark, I can push it right out, look. I can come alongside things, I can work into them, I can show light coming along the edges now. I can start, this is just the cream, I'm going to use pink in a minute. Come around there and just bring that outwards, just scumbling over the surface. I want my colours underneath to glow through. So I'm going to go to a slight pink. And this is a harder pastel. Now you can use the harder pastels. If you've got cheaper pastels, of course, now's the time where it won't matter so much. You bring a bit of that pink coming right through here, getting the glow. I'm just working on this bit of sun just to give you an idea of that can work through here. And warmth coming, just letting it just glow over the top. So this is why, Peter, this is why I wanted the watercolour first, to glow through the colours. We're not going to go in and wipe it all out. There's no point in painting it, is there, otherwise? I'm going to come to a lighter colour. I'll come to my white here now. And I'll start to put some of that into the centre there, because we can put the lights in whenever we like. Right up and through here, still letting that colour come into there. You can blend it slightly if you want. Now remember, when you blend pastel, you kill it. Pastel works by the light reflecting on the pigment. So in the old English method of painting pastel, we block it all in, we blend it, and then we go back over the top and we don't touch those colours, or hardly touch them. Because once you've touched them, you kill them. So if I did that, look, it kills it. But if I did that again here, it brings it out again quite freshly. I don't know if you can see that or not. So I'm so close up here. Normally I would work back like that, which is why I like these long brushes. Monet actually stuck a brush on the end of a 5-foot cane and painted so you could see get back from the broken colour picture. Up here again, got little bits of light just coming through here now.
Are those still creams and reds that you've
I've only had 2 yellows, a cream and a yellow, and a white, and I haven't used the white much, and a pink at the moment. And I'm going to gradually now bring up my other colours. Right, let's come to, now we've got warm and cool blues going on here, so I've got some lovely turquoises here, which I might want to use in places. So I'm going to start playing these warms against cools, even with the darker. So I'm going darker and darker now. I'm starting to use some of my deeper and darker tonal colours, as well as the different warm and cool blues. Is it starting to stand out now? You see, I can't see from here. I just hope I'm doing it all right. You're going, this is rubbish. And now I can start to, I know we were talking earlier about, I'm just going to show you something in a minute, because I talked about using the brush if you needed to. You probably won't need to do this, but if I just take, for fun, that's a very deep, what's that one, is that? I don't want a black, no, that looks like a black, and I want a very deep blue. If I take some of this very deep blue, and add that, that's actually, sometimes the pastel mixes are a bit harder. This one's a little bit harder than, but let's just bring some of that dark into there a minute. And just to show you what I meant about using a brush, let's tip my water out, but if I take some of that paint now, look, I can drag those branches up with the pastel, and I can actually paint the darks back in again. So we're talking about the versatility of the medium. So I can put on the darks, and I can bring them up and out and through. I can even pick up the paint and put it somewhere else, like that. Just like paint. So versatility, we can there's so many ways we can work with this. Beautiful way to work, and then you can bring up, now you can get as much detail as you want. I can just keep working on this detail, but don't lose all of your watercolour underneath. Don't be tempted now to start painting all over it. Just let that watercolour glow through. Here it goes slightly warmer. The darks against the light. Look for these colours, the darks against the light actually become red as it glows out there a fraction. That lovely effect of light you get there. So really look for these colours if you see them. Today is about colour as well as technique. And you will teach yourself to see more colour. You'll learn to see it. Oh, I can't see those colours, but you gradually learn to see them. Do I need to do more at the minute? I can just carry on with this.
No, not for me.
We need to get going.
But it's like now, hopefully enough, you're excited enough now to see just what can be done. So please try and remember to put the pastels you take back into the boxes. You don't have to share the pastels, of course.
And these are...
These are the unison colours. Those are watercolours.
Unison.
Play your warms against cools, your roughs against darks.
No, I don't listen to mine when he gets home. They'll try and bring him up.
Oh, good. Because it's just social.
And did you say Zaki's not coming? Or
No, you can't.
Yes,
So, good.
The plane, which didn't help it at all.
Oh, right.
Yeah, completely not what I was
Not what,
thinking of.
not about the picture, but it's giving you the
I
technique
like
in it.
I don't know where to go now.
I've enjoyed doing this.
That's looking nice now.
I'm stopping.
Do you think you got there?
Yeah, I think I've decided that I've just done too much here now. Yeah.
If you're not sure, just call me and I'll have a look. But
You can sort of like feel yourself over the back too.
back in their little boxes, please.
Peter, when you've got a minute, I think
Yep.
I need rescuing.
Okay.
Thanks.
Not a problem.
That's good. Yeah.
My pleasure.
It's not, I might have had a bit of help from the other people.
Stay all year round.
I think I've got all those pencils in.
Right, so very well done, class. You've really succeeded. I mean, when you'll see the photograph of this later, you'll see what I mean. But when you get back from your work, when you get them home and look at them, I'm sure you'll be much happier with them because they've really come out very well. You've worked very hard today.